Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two pickup trucks making love.
Enough auto thoughts in the Decepticon Lounge. You're listening to Time Cuts, a non-linear history of the Transformers franchise on television. I'm one of your hosts, Audrey.
I'm your other host, Nero.
And we finished Energon this week. It's over.
Unicron
Unicron's
dies. Dead. The whole show's been about trying to kill Unicron, and then it happened. And then somehow there are 12 episodes after that.
Actually, there are 14.
Oh, God.
Because you'll recall that actually happens in the first of these episodes.
Yeah.
Um...
That show, I want to congratulate them on always striving to plumb new depths of absolute shit to show us every week. Can
I just say, from the bottom of my heart, fuck this show. I'm over it, folks. I'm done. I'm sorry. Like, obviously, like, listening to someone just hate on something nonstop is not a very pleasurable listening experience. So I'm not going to harp on, like, this too much. You know, I have actual comments about, like, what we watch, but, like,
it's so bad.
Good fucking Lord.
I'm really confused how they ran out of show and had to make up this Super Energon bullshit for like the last, dozen or so episodes. Like,
there are so many things introduced now at the 11th hour of this show that it's like, what was the point? And I understand that the point was to sell more toys, but fucking Christ. That's what I have to say about it.
They continue to be bad at that as well. We'll talk about it, but the combiners they introduce.
These are some of the most visually muddled episodes we've seen.
Well, before we get to all that bullshit, we have to start with the main event, the big fight. It's fight night, everybody.
Why are you acting like this is not visually muddled as well, though?
Oh,
it's my question. It's my question about this. This is like, now, I know this came out several years before Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann did, but it does feel a little bit like someone watched Gurren Lagann and was like, what if I made that but bad?
Yeah, it's the Temu version of the last Gurren Lagann movie.
AliExpress.
Yeah. Instead of throwing galaxies at each other like Ninja Stars, they're throwing, like, paper, like cardboard cutouts of galaxies, and they're just kind of bouncing off of it.
I think this is particularly confusing in Energon, where, like, Primus just hasn't been a thing.
Yeah. Yes, he becomes big for no reason.
Yeah, hey, why is he big and pointing?
This is, of course, Transformers Energon episode 38, or Transformers Superlink episode 39. Unicron perishes. I wonder what happens in this episode.
Yeah, so, I mean, they do, like, to be clear, in these episodes, they do mention Primus. Like, it's not like he doesn't exist.
It's really hard.
Right.
There's no way they can not mention him in this episode.
So, like, to be clear about and, like, in future, in, like, the other two episodes as well, he is mentioned. But, like, he just hasn't been a presence in Energon at all. So for, like, this to come out, like, at the end of all, watching it in Energon is so weird, because suddenly, like, Optimus is, like, first of all, he's, like, combined into, like, Super Convoy, whatever, great. And then he's, like, pulling himself out planet size from, like, a white dwarf.
Grunting
and there's just,
the whole time. Groaning and grunting.
No, I mean, he groans beforehand.
That's true, but let me get to the summary before we get to the events within this beautiful work of art.
Yeah.
After replaying the last 2 minutes of the previous episode, including the reformatting scene soundtracked by Optimus's constant grunting, it's insane.
They're
And,
killing him.
It's like that in both versions. Like once as I described last week, it's like
I
this
am looking
beautiful
at my
music.
waveform right now,
Oh,
and
I bet it looks
it's
great.
Have fun with that, Nero.
It's like this is beautiful. It's like, everything is bathed in white light, and there's this beautiful music playing as everyone gets powered up, and then it's just like, oh.
It's actually a little bit sharper than that. I feel like it kind of sounds like he's being like poked with a hot poker. It's
yeah.
Like, ah!
In Super Link, it's way more like loud grunts, like a little more sustained. It's time.
Yeah, that is just a solid line.
Excellent.
Have fun. Enjoy that.
It's time for what we'd all been waiting for. 2 giant, poorly textured robots to beat the fuck out of each other on top of an inexplicable cloud platform in the middle of space.
Can we talk? No,
What?
sorry. Continue to summary.
As Optimus Supreme, Large, and Unicron exchange blows, everybody reacts differently. The newly recolored members of Team Prime swoop in to help their leader, to little effect. Starscream and Scorponok decide against rushing in to drag Megatron out of Unicron, and Megatron himself still battles Unicron for control, not wanting to miss out on finally getting his duel with Optimus. After a while, things are looking dire for Prime. Rodimus, Inferno, and Wingsaber drag themselves out of their CR chambers, eager to help, and so they decide to yet again throw Energon towers at Unicron. Omega Supreme goes on a long power of friendship spiel while Optimus is screaming in agony. The Decepticon dipshit squad manages to get freed from their Unicron bondage, only to get immediately arrested by Landmine, and then Unicron fucking explodes. Optimus strikes a triumphant pose, and then promptly dissolves into motes of light, causing the Autobots to panic. Alpha Q watches on from heaven, I guess? Megatron floats through space, having escaped Unicron's destruction, still infected by the Chaos Bringer's influence. So much happens.
Yeah. So I want to talk about those bad textures.
They look
because
Why do they look
I'm
like
not
that?
sure what happened here. But
This
it's
happens,
not good.
This happens every time, like, something gets large enough. It gets, like, beveled. It gets, like, a fucked up filter on it.
It gets,
they look
like,
wet.
It gets put into, like, low res.
Yeah,
Like, it gets put into, like, 360.
It's like when you when you do a boundary break in a fucking video game and you like up-res a distance model. And so they're all like weird and smooth because like they don't have a lot of detail.
I mean, these 3D models don't look great in 720p to begin with, but like they're put down to like 360p here.
Basically, for those not watching, what happens to what Unicron has looked like and what Optimus Supreme looks like after becoming Big McLarge Huge, they take the cell shading off of the 3D models.
Okay, that's what it is. Good lord.
And apply like a, I don't know what it's supposed. It just looks like they're wet. It just looks like they're like,
I don't know. I feel like it's just the flats. Like
they have
somehow
like
they just animated flats.
They have like
instead of doing any shading.
They have a really weird texture to them, though. It's like
it sucks so bad to look at, and it's like it's also like super noticeable because like maybe because Unicron's like character rig or whatever was like built at that size, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, so Unicron looks no worse than usual, basically.
Yeah, he still looks like shit, but he
but,
looks
no
like shit
use,
like always.
Yeah, no use worse than usual. But, like, that highlights how bad Optimus but big looks here.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, all of the colors are weirdly flat. There's like
I think
the lighting looks weird on him.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think they just took away the shading. Like, it takes away the cell shading, so you're just left with these like 3D flats. Which is like a bad look.
Yeah. With the cloud, they get a
please.
weird. I don't understand, Primus works in mysterious ways, I guess, but for some reason, Unicron and Optimus are standing on like a big globe of cloud, like a big
I just don't
cloud
understand
ocean.
why this is necessary. Like, we've had, for better or for worse, we've had cars driving through space on nothing this entire season. They clearly don't need solid ground beneath them.
I guess because they wanted them to like punch each other, they needed to have some kind of thing to stand on.
But they don't. Listen, if you can drive through space, that means that you can throw a punch through space. Both of these require something else to hit friction off of.
Nobody ever remarks on it either. Nobody's like, "What's up with these clouds?" It's just completely unremarked upon.
Yeah, I mean, why would they? Why would they, Nero?
So everybody's flying around this big final boss battle. Optimus spends like 90% of it getting his ass beat really badly.
It is another entry into the losing streak for Optimus, I would say, until the very end there.
Yeah, I don't even really, until they send the fucking Energon towers up. Energon Optimus, for counting them differently from Armada Optimus, right? Which, it kind of makes sense. He takes the most L's out of any Optimus.
I think even counting Armada Optimus, he takes the most L's of any.
Because Armada Optimus didn't actually take a lot of L's. He had a lot of cool moments. He came in the clutch, but Energon Optimus was just like...
I still think that the number of L's that Optimus takes in this, even combined with Energon, is more than
any other Optimus.
Optimus.
It's so bad. So I don't. What notes do you have? What points do you want to hit?
Again, so I was saying this to Nero before we started recording, but this fight was the first 10 minutes of what I watched today, and it is truly incomprehensible for Energon, because all of this is basically powered by Primus, who basically has not been a presence in this series for Energon. So suddenly Optimus is large. I mean, he's mentioned, but like, so most of what I was like this basically like hit me with a right hook straight to the chin.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all I was really able to focus on for about the next 40 minutes of this 50-minute viewing period. So I've only one other note for this episode, which is, one of the very funny things about this is that while this fight is going on, like, everyone on Team Autobot is, like, desperately trying to scramble to figure out how to save Optimus's ass, who's losing very badly. And so, at some point Rodimus comes in. I can't even remember what he's suggesting, but Kicker just responds to him with goes, "Rodimus, that's cool and all."
Look, we have shit going on here, Rodimus.
Yeah, so, like, Rodimus suggests something, and I can't remember what it is, but, like, and Kicker's like, "Rodimus, that's cool and all, but we're not, like, that's not going to make a dent. We have to figure out how we're actually going to get something to big guy out there."
Yeah.
But just, like, the phrasing of Rodimus, that's cool and all, really got me.
Me whenever Energon Rodimus opens his fucking mouth.
Yeah. Rodimus, that's cool and all.
Man, so these three guys wake up from their fucking coma. I think it's really funny that Wingsaber's there, because like now that Optimus has a new power up friend that he likes way better than Wingsaber, like there's a moment later in the third episode in Superlink where Optimus is talking to Omega Supreme and like confides to him that he's feeling, he's like, Galvatron's revival has me feeling really unsure of myself, and Omega Supreme's like, you can't express that to the men, it'll hurt morale, and Optimus says, I know, I'm only telling this to you because I trust you. It's like, Wingsaber was functionally a jetpack. He did not have a personal relationship with Wingsaber, but he's like whispering sweet nothings into Omega Supreme's ear.
Okay, but Omega Supreme, big and useful.
Exactly.
Have you considered that?
Optimus just like, finally, I don't hear about
And-
fucking padlock.
And yeah, exactly. Omega Supreme isn't always talking about his fucking ex.
Omega Supreme just likes to talk about how powerful friendship is.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
The bit in, oh my god, I swear to fucking god, literally every other line out of Omega Supreme's mouth in Super League is just the power, your friends will give you your power, Optimus.
Have you ever watched Garzy's Wing?
I have not, no.
Do you know about Garzy's Wing?
The name rings a bell.
So Garzy's Wing is a 6-episode anime from like the early aughts, which is like has a famously terrible dub. Like
Right.
famously terrible. Let me see if I can find this.
I do remember hearing about it in that context. Yeah, the name. Whenever you said that, like, I couldn't really remember it, but I remember it being attached to like dog shit somehow.
Humans are just humans. They are only human.
Yeah, absolutely. That line has the same energy as, and to be fair, this is fan subbed, so like it's not exactly primo translation.
Yeah.
But the line, this powerful power of being connected with your friends, really just fucking got me.
Yeah, he's just a human. Humans are just humans. They come into this life filled with hopes and dreams.
That is exactly some shit that Energon Omega Supreme would say. He's always saying shit like that. I'm like, shut
also, Dr.
up.
Jones. Like, Dr. Jones
Yes.
talks the exact same fucking way. Though he has a great line in the next episode. I will say that. We should do a Garzy's Wing viewing. That's
bonus
about
episode.
Yeah, but or when we run out of, presumably we might be able to like show TF1 between seasons here.
We might. Depending on if it's streaming, or two, if there's any
Yeah. I'm more talking about 2. It's not going to be streaming, but like if there's a decent pirate of it.
But I was gonna say something about Omega Supreme.
Power, friendship, power.
Yeah, just like that. He's just always on that shit. Oh, I remember. I was gonna ask, what did they call the wine in episode 2?
Oh yeah, that would be a line that I was referring to from Dr. Jones, which is, "Come on, Kicker, have some sparkling grape juice."
The classic.
The classic. Or sorry, not Kicker, Rad.
Yeah, it's right. Did they keep the blush in because he's fucking drunk?
I honestly can't remember.
Oh,
I was
man,
laughing too hard over sparkling grape juice.
Classic.
It wasn't even sparkling cider. Who has sparkling grape juice?
So,
Bust open a bottle of Martinelli's. Come on.
Absolutely. Just sparkling grape juice to celebrate the devil being killed. Come on, Dr. Jones. We're getting slightly ahead of ourselves, though. We have to talk about Optimus Supreme and Unicron hugging each other so tightly that they become superheated and explode.
Yeah.
What the fuck happens at the end of this fight?
I was hoping you would tell me, homie. I'm working at the deficit here.
They just start glowing, and Rodimus says, like, oh my god, Optimus and Unicron's body temperature is skyrocketing. Optimus, you have to let go. And Optimus says, no. Because at a certain point, Unicron wipes out, like, 5 planets, 5 of Alpha Q's planets in one blast. So once again, not doing great as far as the Defend Alpha Q's legacy mission goes. But yeah, they just grapple and start glowing really brightly, and then the Unicron explodes, and I think it's because of the Energon grid activating, but I think he also just starts exploding before that.
You know what? He was sick of the series too.
Yeah.
He'd had enough.
This visually is trying to echo Unicron's death in the movie, I think, in the 86 movie, but the difference is that it looks really bad.
Yeah, well, that is the main difference in many things in Energon.
What did you think about? I know that in the dub they added in a bunch of really lovely Unicron growls for a lot of this stuff. What did you think about him going "Urgh"?
I mean, honestly, after that opening sequence again of Optimus doing it for like it like didn't even register. Honestly, because
I'm gonna put the audio from that scene in Energon at the end of this.
Great,
at the end of this instead of the theme, so everyone gets to hear what the fuck the first like 2 minutes of this episode sounds like.
I hope all of our listeners appreciate the very good radio. The very good radio that we are creating here.
I need
ratio.
I need to see the behind the scenes footage of Gary Chalk doing that scene.
I don't know that I want to.
Anyway, Optimus dies again. Death number
like
whatever.
Yeah.
He just fucking dissolves into light, and everyone goes like, "Oh shit! Quick, go find him!"
Now, I want to be very clear here. Nero's like, "Oh, Optimus has like the most near-death experiences in Energon." No, he dies. Every time we see this happen, he has died. He has been legally dead. And they've resuscitated him. But if it had been a DNR, we would have a very different series. There's a lot of things that we would have a very different series if things have been slightly different.
Turns gray, so he's not like totally dead. Turning gray is like Optimus Prime brain death, so you can't bring that back.
I don't buy that. Turning gray is rigor mortis.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, he just keeps dying.
Badly. Not as badly as Shock Blast, but that's a fun.
I don't know.
That's a fun storyline we'll get to in the next couple episodes.
The one that happens in the third episode to Optimus is pretty bad. Like at least Shock Blast was personally murdered by Unicron. Like it looked really funny, but like at least he got punched by the devil. What happens to Optimus in the third episode that we're covering this week is so humiliating. But anyway, Alpha Q is in heaven.
Yes.
Why is he still here? He's the Greek chorus for this show now.
Why is anyone still here? This series is over!
So often, we just cut to Alpha Q's grave and he's just fucking yapping away about whatever events. Like, did they think he was that funny?
I don't know why they made any decision that they made here, Nero.
And the stinger at the end is that Megatron still has devil eczema. Anyway, episode 39 of Energon / 40 of Superlink. Ambition / Galvatron's renewed ambition. This is where things start to get somehow stupider. We get a weird little cold open showing Cybertron as a blasted hellscape infested with Terracons before jumping back in time. Unicron is dead and everybody is celebrating. All of the Autobots and Dr. Jones, who is very eager to break out the wine, are extremely certain that the fighting is over for good this time, and aren't even really that concerned with getting the Energon grid back up. The Decepticon dipshit division gets thrown into the slammer, and Snowcat coincidentally becomes cell neighbors with Shock Blast's nerdy little brother, Six-Shot. Snowcat, either lying on purpose or just being an idiot, blames Shock Blast's extremely funny death on Optimus rather than Megatron, causing Six-Shot to declare his quest for vengeance on Optimus. Prime is in the medical bay because becoming gigantic was bad for his spark. Kicker is concerned that Alpha Q's planets will die without an Energon sun, a worry that Alpha Q's ghost shares. Kicker then has a premonition about Cybertron being attacked and calls his dad. Right after this, Cybertron is attacked. Turns out deciding that hostilities were over while Megatron, Starscream, and Scorponok were all still unaccounted for was a really bad idea. Scorponok leads the Terracons on a raid, Starscream leads a jailbreak, and Megatron decides to follow the new evil voice in his head on a treasure hunt. As the Miranda 2 flies out to help the fight on Cybertron, Optimus busts out of his coffin and flies out there. Megatron, meanwhile, stumbles upon a secret chamber deep within Cybertron, with a mural depicting the ancient history of the war and 4 statues of giant robots which guard some kind of pit. When Megatron blows one of them up, it causes a chain reaction, awakening the other 3 and causing a mysterious blue pool of liquid to rise up. Ooh.
I'm checked out at this point.
They really, really quickly decided that it was over, huh?
I mean, to be fair to them, they did kill the devil.
They never found Starscream or Scorponok's body.
Yeah, that was dumb of them.
Or Megatron, for that matter. They just sort of assumed that all of those guys died. Which,
You know, you get, like, wrapped up in the, in the euphoria of killing the devil. Right. It happens.
I understand. I mean, I can definitely understand Dr. Jones. The best animated shot of anything in this entire show, by the way, is in this episode. Which is Sally putting a little stuffed Optimus Prime toy on a shelf. That's the best looking thing in this show.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Actually, I argue
it's either that or any of the stuff where it's either that or Inferno's agony.
That and there is a shot in the next episode actually of Starscream walking into the water.
Mm-hmm.
That they did in 2D.
Yes.
That actually looked very good. And
then six shot.
And then he gets tortured by water.
He touches the bad water. They also animate Megatron screaming in pain in 2D. It's always agony that they have to go. Like, that's the emotion that they just have to really depict.
It's the one that they're feeling as they animate it, so I understand.
Can we talk about Six Shot?
I'd love to talk about Six Shot. Can we talk about Pepe Silva?
Yeah. So, okay, number one. So here's a really funny detail about Six Shot.
Uh-huh.
For some fucking reason, Six Shot's toy was never released in Japan. I don't know why. There is no Takara-made Six Shot toy at all.
Great.
It's completely confusing. So yeah,
I love Orange Whirl.
Six Shot. His colors are fucking hideous. He looks like goddamn Strawberry Dreamsicle over here. He
looks like a warning sign.
He does look like a hazard sign.
Yeah.
Which I guess Roadblock also does.
You know, like orange camouflage print.
Oh God.
That's kind of the vibe that Six Shot is going for.
You know, we made a lot of jokes about Shock Blast being like the shitty Shockwave cousin, right?
Yeah.
Six Shot. Now there's a guy who's like in almost every time he shows up, he's like the baddest motherfucker around. He's like an unstoppable killing machine.
Yeah.
He's like a fucking in Headmasters, where like he kind of first showed up in fiction. He was like a fucking mysterious ninja warrior.
Yeah.
In IDW, he's the goddamn Terminator.
Yeah, he's a phase sixer.
And in this show, he's a little fucking nerd ass bitch.
He's Orange Whirl.
He's Orange Whirl. He's a huge nerd. He goes on a vengeance quest based entirely on something that Snowcat said.
Yeah, which is just like an incredible character arc.
I still don't know if he was lying on purpose or if he's just fucking stupid. Like, I legitimately can't tell. It's probably safer to
I think he's just
the latter.
Stupid. Yeah, I think he's just stupid.
He just didn't know what happened down there.
He forgore.
He forgore. He thought that Optimus made a really big fist appear. Oh God, what the fuck? Even there's a okay. So Megatron is hearing Unicron's voice in his head now, and also there's like an evil orb in space. There's like an orb.
I wouldn't concern yourself about it.
There's like a nasty little jawbreaker out there in space, or maybe inside him. It's really hard to tell. But he's hearing this, and I really love at least in Super Link, his reaction to starting to hear Unicron's voice is like, haha, this fucking rules. I have an evil GPS inside of me. Let's go.
He's the dumbest motherfucker in the galaxy, honestly.
Oh man.
We talk a lot about like Megatron being like relatively intelligent in the series, but he's not. He's a fucking moron.
The sort of erudite kind of like manipulator that sometimes showed up in Armada, right? Like when he wasn't just being a complete asshole, he was always playing an angle. Nah,
Exactly.
not this one. Not this guy. This guy is just slurping on that devil juice. Failing all the time and blaming Scorponok for it. It's no good. Taking baths in Super Energon. Do you have any? I assume you don't have much else for this episode.
I had the line from Dr. Jones.
Yes,
enjoy your sparkling grapefruit juice.
Yeah. Kicker has the worst like new type flash ever. Like he has a vision. And like 30 seconds before it happens.
Yeah, and then
Useless.
Yeah, my only other note for ambition is genuinely how is this series still going?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows, including the writers. There's only one more thing I want to talk about, which is a shot that I found extremely fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
So when everybody's on the Miranda 2 space bridging towards Cybertron, and they're like, oh my god, Optimus broke out of his coffin, Grandpa's up, he wants to fight. There's just a shot of Omega Supreme standing alone in a room, completely silently and completely still, staring out of a window at space. Just like dissociating. It was...
I'm really trying not to be too negative about this because I know how I genuinely want our listeners to know that I don't like listening to an hour of people just hating on things. Like, it's great to be a hater. I love being a hater, but like, it's not good radio, and I understand that. But like, some of y'all watch this. Some of y'all know what we're talking about. And it's like, these episodes have been very difficult to find redeeming qualities about them.
Yeah.
We're trying, folks.
We're
going to get
really
worse trying.
It's going to get so much worse in the next one when we have to talk about these goddamn combiners.
You know what? Yeah. Right, yeah.
But yeah, I really was really tickled by that shot. It's like 4 seconds long and it's just him standing there. Like, no music, no dialogue, just dissociating. Like, me too, buddy.
Just
me
people
too, Omega
vibing
Supreme.
in the moment.
Just living in the moment. Let's talk about the next. Nothing happens in this episode. It's all set up for the next one.
Yeah.
Episode 40 of Energon, or 41 of Superlink, Wishes/Superion's Hope. Megatron gloats over the pool of Super Energon and claims to its three guardians that they are now his minions. Two of them, Bruticus Maximus and Constructicon Maximus, whom I will be calling Bruticus and Devastator for brevity's sake, are down with it. Autobot Superion Maximus, the same deal as above, isn't. Superion claims that if Megatron attempts to harness Super Energon, it'll kill him. In response, he takes a dive in and comes out as Galvatron, resplendent in garish G1 reference colors. Both Decepticon combiners swear loyalty to him, and Superion is forced to retreat. Mirage is elated to hear about Megatron's survival, and Snowcat introduces everybody to Six Shot. Starscream hears Galvatron's voice in his head, telling him to come down to the Super Energon chamber in 5 minutes if he wants an ass-kicking. Six Shot, upon hearing about this Super Energon, says that he can use it to turn the Energon grid back on the Autobots, and he and Demolisher go off to do so. The Miranda 2 arrives in orbit, and Kicker is concerned about the radio silence from his family. Rad and Kicker's family barely avoid being found out by Demolisher and Six Shot as they break into the command bunker to hijack the Energon grid. Superion tries to reason with the Decepticon combiners to no avail. The dive bomb drones Starscream brings down to the Super Energon chamber just can't handle the juice. Galvatron tells Starscream to jump into this pool if he's loyal, and he also gets the garish G1 colors treatment. The Autobots attack, and Six Shot deploys his gambit. release a big, nasty, stinky fart cloud to wreath Cybertron, hurting all of the Autobots. Superion swoops in to save Kicker from being murdered by Starscream, while Optimus dies choking on stink, and the Autobots are forced to retreat. Alpha Q continues to be the Greek chorus, and Kicker is determined to get his family back. More recolors. More recolors. More of them.
And just in case you weren't covered by the recolors, how about just some more guys?
Oh god.
Just
okay.
like more of everything. Hey, listen. We're like probably wrapping this up soon, right? I mean, Unicron's dead. We have to pump in what we can while the going's still hot.
These fucking combiners. So okay.
We're trying, folks. I promise you we're trying.
Let's talk about combiners, right? Time-worn tradition of Transformers franchise and like super robot stuff as a whole, right? The people love it when a bunch of robots turn into a big one.
Very frequently a huge game changer within the series to get access to combiners.
The way it's always been is there are 5 to 6 guys who are all their own guys and all unique guys who combine into a form that is a new guy, right? That's how it's been since goddamn Devastator.
Yeah, bigger than before.
Energon saw this and decided, number one, you never show them combining. Whenever they combine or decombine, they just turn into light and split apart or come together. So already you fucked it. The whole thing is that it's 5 guys that turn into one guy. But you don't show that on screen. Number 2, they're not treated as individuals, the components. On one hand is fine, because this show already has too many fucking characters in it. We don't need 15 more characters to deal with, right?
Sure.
On the other hand, functionally, they're just drones. They're basically just the Prime Force drones. The only thing that has consciousness is like the main torso piece. And also, the other thing is that instead of 5 completely unique molds, because these fucking things were thrown together to pad out the end of a struggling toy line, these combiners have one chest-like piece that is a unique guy, and then they have 2 arms and legs of 2 of the same guy. So like they're like identical molds. As a result, these guys look fucking hideous. Surprise!
But they have sparkling personalities to make up for it.
Oh, yeah. What about Superion is the Autobot one, and the other 2... in Superlink, at least, Bruticus and Devastator have slightly different personalities. Devastator is way more of a dumb muscle guy, and Bruticus is like a more competent combatant. But I'm pretty sure in Energon they are just basically the same, from what I remember. There's no reason for any of this to be happening or these guys to be here. They don't add anything. They don't make things more exciting. They aren't interesting characters. And they're basically just here because fuck it. We have 14 more episodes we need to do, and we blew up Unicron in episode 38. Mm-hmm. So we got to figure some shit out.
Yep.
Let's talk about how bad the new Galvatron colors look.
Sure.
I don't know. Okay. Mm-hmm. I actually really like G1 Galvatron. It's one of my favorite designs from the 86 movie.
It's nice. It's simple. It's straightforward. It looks good.
And the colors on G1 Galvatron, obviously they are very bright, but they go together very well. He's got a good silhouette.
And it's not it's not that complicated. It's 2 colors.
I don't understand what happened here. So, number 1, Galvatron and Energon, right? Obviously he's mostly Orpal. And you would expect, it's really easy to do Galvatron. One color, main color purple, subcolor gray, right? Really easy. Red on the chest thing. And they have that. But
2
for
parts
some reason,
goat milk, 1 part beer.
yeah, for some reason, only Megatron's torso only Galvatron's torso is purple. His legs are gray. His headpiece is gray for reasons I can't fathom. And instead of being orange, his guns are piss yellow. Why? What happened here?
It looks good.
How do you fuck up a G1 like color reference of this bad? He looks, I don't know.
No,
I
please,
just
please,
don't know.
please finish that. I'm very curious.
I'm going to show you 2 of the toys, okay? Because they actually have different coloration. And the Hasbro one looks way better than the Takara one, okay? So here's the Hasbro one, and for listeners, the purple is way darker. The cannons are the proper color of orange. And also, instead of being gray, his horns are black. Just a much more pleasing color gradient there. Just a much nicer arrangement. Okay. And here's the periwinkle monstrosity. Here he comes. Good God. Oh my God, I think I understand how this happened. They based this off of the G1 Galvatron toy, which looks like shit. Why?
I mean, here's the thing. Like, again, in the broader scheme of this show, Galvatron does not look that bad. Like,
No.
frankly, he doesn't. So
He looks, but like the colors wise, when I compare this to
sure,
his colors from Armada, right? His color, I really like his color scheme in Armada.
sure. No, listen. Comparing anyone to how they look in Armada is a losing battle. That don't even don't try that. We cannot we cannot compare. I think that is the issue that you are having here, is that you are for some reason with Galvatron comparing him to other types of Galvatrons, whereas what you should be doing is comparing him to how dog shit he looks in comparison to everyone else in this series.
Yeah. Starscream
And from
also
that
looks bad.
yeah, and from that perspective, he actually looks pretty okay.
I do miss. I do actually think that, like, as far as designs go, Energon Megatron is pretty solid compared to a lot of the designs in the show. I think he looks fine. I miss his old colors.
Yeah, no
They
shit.
look good.
No shit. I miss my wife's tails.
Starscream, his colors, they
It's just
they
like
don't
the
look
same
great.
thing over again, but again, just worse somehow. It's like incredible. They have the same 3 colors, and they keep last time what he was. I will say, I actually think he looks better now than he did before.
Oh yeah,
because whatever the fuck that color combination was maybe the worst thing my eyes have ever seen.
Like the black and burgundy with neon green highlights.
Yeah. Not a fan of it. But like, yeah, this is fine. I can work with this.
It's fine. By the way, the character page on TFWiki for this episode has 42 characters in it, but that's only because they count each of the combiner parts as their own characters, despite the fact that is never the case. So it's really more like it's only like
36,
like 30, like 32 or whatever.
Yeah, this is embarrassing for everyone involved.
I
don't know what to tell you at this point.
So, I bet you've all been wondering, what does a Decepticon Energon grid look like? You know, they're the evil guys. What does it look like when the Decepticons take over the Energon grid? And the answer is a cartoon fart cloud. It is.
But hey, look on the bright side. It kills Optimus.
Okay. Let's discuss his path in the last few episodes. So let's start with the time. Let's start with the time that someone told him, "Watch out! Unicron's body is superheated. If you touch it, you'll catch on fire and die."
And then he catches on fire and dies.
Goes down to touch it, catches on fire, and dies. Then there's him becoming large and beating getting the shit kicked out of him by Unicron. until the anime moment happens at the end. And then he has a heart attack and dies.
Yeah.
Because he was too large. So they have to put him in the tube.
Mm-hmm.
And then he breaks out of the tube too early because he needs to go fight Galvatron. And so he fights Galvatron, which, by the way, nothing works. Every time they shoot at Galvatron, it all just bounces off of him. And then the sting, what Cybertron with Stinky Cloud happens, and then he just dies in the cloud. He just falls over and dies because it was too stinky.
I hate this show. Like, I'm really stretching myself here.
There's like 12 more episodes.
Yeah, I know. We still have a solid month of this. By the way, not doing this next week. I'll be on vacation. So
The next episode of Energon is called Galvatron with an exclamation point.
Great.
He was already here. What? You can't introduce him now. He already showed up.
And it's me, Galvatron. I've been here the entire time.
Yes. Next episode, like you said, we're on break next week. You all get a reprieve from this.
More importantly, we get a reprieve from this.
Next week, we get to talk about the most deranged episode of this fucking show ever.
Fantastic.
Oh boy. All right. Let's get some questions. I would like to thank everybody for sending less questions than last week.
Yeah.
I don't have to scroll that much.
It is appreciated, but I was being serious about like the rules, like, so thank you.
Try to keep it 2 per person. That'll be lovely. Anyway, take us through the questions.
Sci-Fi Sabrina asks, how do you like the new, original, and unique character 6-shot?
Oh man.
I do not like this version of 6-shot.
You skipped a few. That she actually had another one, but I think.
Oh shit! Sorry, no, you're right.
Yeah.
But we'll answer this one and then I'll go back. I got distracted
6-shot
by the video link.
I don't understand why he's here. Like,
Well,
like I said, there's a bunch of
Shockblast's brother.
toys. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like, who
There
gives
is
a shit?
so much. I don't understand why 3/4 of the way through this series, after the main villain has been defeated, they are now introducing new characters. There's too many fucking characters in this show. Stop showing me a new guy. I'm done.
Like, okay, thankfully, I'm pretty sure that with the combiners. Nope, never mind. There are new. I forgot there's new characters.
Yeah, no,
There's other
no,
new characters after this.
don't make promises you cannot keep, my guy. All right. Sabrina asks, final stretch, everyone. How you feeling? Tired.
Oh,
Mostly, like, genuinely tired.
It's fucking brutal out here.
This is like really challenging. Like, I was diagnosed with ADD when I was 12. And like from middle school through college, I really came up with a bunch of coping mechanisms. Like, I'm not medicated anymore. And like, I'm pretty good on stuff, but this like really challenges my ability to focus.
Your
like,
eyes just kind of
having to do having to do like an hour of this like every week. It's like, it's genuinely challenging to get through. And like, I don't feel good about it because I feel like I'm not putting in like 100% to this, and I want to do that for this show because I care about this podcast a lot. But like, it is genuinely like, mostly I feel exhausted.
You're putting in the effort that this show deserves.
I
That's all I'll
know.
say. There's just not the thing about it is we can't put in the effort usually because there's not that much to talk about, and somehow there's going to be less to talk about moving forward.
I know,
because it's all just going to be a bunch of bullshit.
I know. Sabrina also asked, do you think this section of the show was the inspiration for the IDW Combiner War arc? Absolutely not.
I mean, it's about as good. That part of the man.
I liked Combiner Wars.
The part I believe what Sabrina is referring to here is the part of the transform. Was it Robots in Disguise at that point? I think it might have just been Transformers ongoing.
It was just the Transformers at that point.
Yeah, they went to Earth. Galvatron had taken over the Decepticons on Earth, They had the Enigma of Combination, and then there was a point in that where just like everybody was combining with everybody.
I like Combiner Wars. I think
That's
it's funny.
true.
Also, like, Prowl is so
Yeah.
awful during Combiner Wars. That's really
I forgot
like
that
when you,
there's like a.
it's really when you get like peak of Prowl just being the absolute worst he can be.
Okay, I was forgetting. I forgot there. I was thinking of two different things because yeah, that is I believe that is Rid.
Okay.
Because there's that the part where he actually gets put in a Devastator and there's a bunch of combiner
Yeah.
stuff going on. There's a separate part on Earth.
I mean, I think
later in
it's
the comic.
yes. I think that is also part of Combiner Wars. But like,
that one's notable because that's the one where Optimus murders the fuck out of no, it's Galvatron murders the fuck out of Astro Train. No, I think it is Optimus and RC who just kill Astro Train and then murder Galvatron while inside of Jupiter's Great Red Spot.
yeah. Well, RC deserves it. We
That
were
is the
brothers.
part where they that is the part where they reveal that they were siblings. Everyone's just like, what?
We were brothers. And now I'm your sister. And now I'm gonna kill you. Anakin.
A lot of information flying at Galvatron. in this fight. But yeah, maybe I don't think this was the inspiration because these combiners inspire nothing but apathy in me.
Yeah. Sure Knock Chat asks, how powerful is your power?
Only as powerful as the powerful power of friendship,
Indeed.
which is powerful.
I don't have to answer this one. Sabrina asks, is 10,000 years for aiding the devil in Universal Destruction?
That's really funny.
Fair
That's really
sentence?
funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
We didn't
In
talk
Super
about
Link,
this.
it's 1,000 years.
It's 10,000 years in Energon. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Where, I mean, when you think about it, these guys are millions of years old, but it is very funny that,
Yeah.
like, Snowcat's, like, in jail being like, damn, 10,000 years, huh?
Like, I guess it is fair considering they did bring back the devil
Yeah.
and blow up
And-
so many planets.
And they do live for millions of years. Like, I do think that is,
Honestly, that seems like a slap on the wrist.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a year, not even. That's like 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna skip this one because it has a link that we can't like include in the show. Sorry, chat.
It does sound like the Mermaid Man and Bronco Boy theme though.
Yeah. To ask what other siblings who've never been mentioned at all up until their appearance will show up in Energon, RC and Galvatron.
I mean,
They're both
literally
there.
any of these motherfuckers would have secret
Yeah.
brothers at this point. We just don't know. We're Snowcat's secret brother, Sandcat. He's the same but beige.
Yeah.
Where's Ironhide's brother?
And he, instead of yodeling, he does like racist Arab.
Oh my god!
From all the movies.
I wanted to make that joke, but I decided against it. I'm glad you went through with it.
Yeah. Listen, it's racist. Like, yeah.
Six
It's
shock blast's secret nerdy brother who nobody talked about.
Verna John Herzog asks, while in school, did you ever choose to not read a book that you were doing an assignment on? Still counts if you only watch the movie. Out of the human companion you see... Oh, sorry, that's a separate one. Yes. I was an English major, so yes. I had to take a course. So we had like, as English majors, you had like categories of literature that you had to hit, and you had to hit like 4 out of 6 of them to get your degree, basically. And like one of them was like 19th century writers, I think, just generally.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took like 1800s British lit, and there's some stinkers in there, let me tell you.
I was a big reader in high school, but you know, it's the classic thing of like I read all the time on my own, and then when someone tells me to read, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do it anymore. Fuck you. Weirdly enough, I did this I don't know why I did this. It makes no fucking sense. I did that for a project where we got to choose what we wanted to read. Like twice. So I chose my own book that I like. Like, it wasn't even like from a list. It was like you just pick one.
That's pretty bad.
And then it was like I was just like, the fucking contrarian reflex was so strong that it was like, I'm not gonna read this shit. fuck you. One of them was like Alex Rider's Stormbreaker.
Oh my
It was
god.
like YA spy novels. I think the other one was a young James Bond novel that I didn't read.
I will say that, like, I say I didn't read it, but, like, as an English major in particular, that really doesn't fly. Like, you have to have some of it. So, like, my trick when I was in college was that I would read the first sentence of every paragraph, which made it go, like, much faster and also gave you, like, just enough context to actually, like, get by.
You speed ran it.
Yeah, no, literally, that's what I did. Like, we would get, like, pop quizzes or whatever, and I would get, 9 out of 10 right, which was, like, fine.
Yeah.
So,
Look.
anyway.
Everything our academic system being entirely focused on test scores and stuff is like inspires sort of bad habits and poor learning skills.
I work for a school system, so I can't answer this question. Chet asks, who's a more effective GPS, Robot God or the Robot Devil?
Oh, we missed the answer to that is Unicron.
Yeah.
I really I forgot to talk about it in Super Link, but there is one point where like Unicron basically tells Megatron to seek out the Super Energon, and he's wandering around. He's like, "Which way now?" And then he pauses, and you just hear, "Go north." He's like, "Okay."
Sorry, I did miss this other question from Cass, which is, out of the human companions you've seen so far, who does what?
Kicker doesn't know how to read. He would watch the movie though. He doesn't know how to read because Dr. Jones never took the time to teach him how to read. He was too busy dangling him down fucking mine shafts and shit.
Yeah, Spike also doesn't know how to read.
That's because he was on the oil rig when he was like 15.
Right, because he spent his ambiguous teenage years on the oil rig.
Sparkplug doesn't believe in literacy. You just need good, honest work.
Yeah, Spike is... the Maltos are forced to take their assignments very seriously.
Alexis does like bonus reading somehow.
Yeah, Alexis, as does Raph.
Yes.
Miko does not do it.
Miko does.
Jack skates by.
I think Jack does your technique. I feel like.
Yeah, I think Jack is very aligned with me.
I think Rad and Carlos. I don't think they skip. I don't think they skimp, but I think they're probably just like normal.
Sorry, scans it with her secret robot abilities.
Yeah, she cheats every fucking time. Yeah. She downloads a PDF from the internet and reads it with her fucking robot brain.
Yeah.
And Billy and Fred, they
don't count as companions. Moving on.
Damn. Okay.
We have to keep these short. I'm begging you. Slipstream Sam asks, is a final boss more impactful if they are teased throughout the whole game, revealed right at the end as a twist or higher power above the antagonist, or perhaps seen as your rival for the whole game leading up to the end? I do like a good twist if it's executed well.
I prefer the latter two parts. Obviously, a boss fight can be... like a twist boss fight can be really fun, but also it's like
it has to be executed well, and it's so hard to do.
Yeah, like talking about what I always think of when I think of a rival character boss fight, the Platinum games, where very often, at least in the Kamiya led ones, you will repeatedly fight your rival throughout the game. And then have like one really big confrontation, and almost every time it's like the best boss fight in the game, like way better than the final boss in terms of its like gameplay. Like maybe not in terms of spectacle, right? Like the Platinum final bosses are always insane, but like insofar as like this shit fucking rules, it's the rival boss fight. Like it's fucking Jean from Bayonetta, it's Vorkin from Lord 101. They rule so hard.
I mean, I also think I think the twist one works really well in like JRPGs.
Yes, where like you beat the guy who you've been chasing, and then like all of a sudden...
true ending bosses are like fascinating to me. Like I just recently replayed Persona 4, and like both of the final bosses there, like the regular final boss and like the true ending final boss are both like twist ending one of them is a twist, and the other one is the second part of that, a higher power above the antagonist, which is really cool. And like getting to those parts where it's like, oh, you've clicked everything together, particularly for the secret boss, which is like,
yeah.
I mean, listen, this game is a decade and a half old. I'm not. Hey, spoilers for Persona 4. Skip ahead like a minute or whatever if you don't want to hear this. But like revealing Izanami at the end of it as this like fucking weird ass gas station attendant that has one conversation with you at the beginning of the game and then just like kind of shows up on rainy nights to be like, "Hey, I'm ominous. What's up?" But I'm just a gas station attendant. Why would you ever suspect me? And like doesn't get named or whatever, and then like is the goddess of the dead. Whips incredibly hard.
Yeah, that's the kind of twist that's like this seemingly innocuous NPC is actually like insanely powerful the whole time.
Because she's not the antagonist of the game. Like you beat the other antagonist. I won't spoil that one for whoever like wants to do it, but like you beat the antagonist of the game and like the core conflict of the game is resolved. It just turns out that like she's the person who set all of that in motion, and like she's not necessarily like even evil in the way that we think about it. It's just like you can end this game completely satisfied with like the normal ending, and because that is the completion of the story, but it's like here's this other character that is going to keep fucking around with people's lives if you don't stop her, basically. So yeah, that's my thing. Okay, Sabrina asks, there's been a lot of talk about people who want remakes of various Transformers series due to the recent 40th anniversary Studio Trigger AMV. If you had the option to, would you want a remake of the Unicron trilogy? If so, what would you change? This can be limited to just changes in animation, to anything you'd want in a remake, so long as it is still the same show, same basic plot and whatnot. Honestly, I'm gonna throw the baby out with bathwater on this one.
There's very little of Energon's plot. If it's the same plot, like there's very little of it that is any redeemable at all.
Yeah.
Like if you took pieces of Energon, like if you really just fucking smashed it and reassembled it in like a vaguely similar shape, you could have something. But if it's the same, I think I would much rather see a version of either Armada or Cybertron, both of which are much better shows than this, with like really good animation. Like either a pared down version of Armada with like hella budget, or a version of Cybertron with better animation. But like I wouldn't actually change that much about Cybertron. Either of those I would be fine with. Leave this in the dirt. Leave this in the past. We don't touch this show. It's bad. It's fucking radioactive isotope.
Yeah. Okay. Chet asked, how much of Megatron/Galvatron's planning ultimately comes down to fuck around and find out? It seems like most of it in this one.
Just all of it.
Yeah.
He's just constantly doing shit.
Yeah, seems like the majority of it.
Without any thought. They're just like, hey, you jump in that, you'll die. Bet!
Chet also asks, how much despair would you feel if we finally reached the end of Energon, only for the show to just keep going as it annotates some kind of perverse form of life, continuing to introduce new guys and pointless plot lines? Does it do this out of self-preservation or out of sheer hatred of its own viewers?
I think it's
created an
malevolence.
SCP.
Yeah, this is a malevolent entity. This is like
this is a Keter class SCP that you've just created here.
Keep that shit contained. Under no circumstances can you release self-replicating Transformers Energon onto the world.
I know I've said it before, but just to remind everyone, I have a job. So I actually have like other things I need to do in my life besides this. So I guess
all you have to do is watch Transformers Energon. That's all you need to do.
Anyway, the answer is a lot of despair, chat. Thank you.
Soul-crushing despair.
I think I would just stop. Like, we would just move on to the next series.
And unless, of course, if this is truly was an SCP, then it would just keep turning every show, a Transformers show we tried to watch, into Transformers
That's so much
Energon.
worse. That's so much
It would
worse.
start leaking into the other shows you podcast. So like 5D's just slowly, like at 5D seems normal, and then all of a sudden Kicker is there, and then like
Jesus.
more shit it just leaks everywhere.
Talk about
Scary.
2-sentence horror story.
Absolutely.
Ruby Road Rage asks, how does it feel when you beat the final boss in the final chapter, only for there to be more story and more side quests to go through? I am not much of a completionist, but for the things where I am, it's kind of like nice, honestly.
Yeah, I think it depends, right? Because so there's two ways that this can happen, right? Where one of them is it's just the post game, where it's like basically bonus stuff after you beat the game. The other way this can happen is where like it looks like the game is about to end, then it just springs a second half on you. Nier Automata kind of does this, but not really. Like you can see it coming pretty clearly after the first two playthroughs.
I was about to say, like, Nier Automata does it as much as like 999 does it, which is to say you get an ending and then you're like, okay, obviously there's more to that, and then you get 5 more endings.
I feel like Fire Emblem Awakening actually does this more. Although that one's more like 3. It's basically just 3 campaigins, like 3 stories.
But I'm thinking more about stuff like Yakuza, right? Where it's like you finish the game and then you can do all of, like the side quests.
That's great. Because previously, right, there would always be a with a game like that, it always tell you like this is the point of no return. You can't go back after this, whatever. But nowadays it's just like, fuck the narrative. You can just go around and do all
you beat the game. You are now allowed to like explore the world as you so choose. Like,
yeah, that's great because you can either put it down there, or if you like the game a lot, you can just keep going.
Yeah, or like Breath of the Wild is like another good example where it's like you can defeat Ganon and then like fuck around.
Yeah.
Sabrina asks, what do you think Super Energon tastes like? I think it would be sour. Yeah, it'd be like a Jawbreaker. A Warhead.
It looks like the Airheads mystery flavor to me, like the white one.
Yeah, it's Warheads.
So, yeah, it would be. It's like fucking white cherry Warheads. That's why everyone. It's so sour. It's not burning them. It's just like
It's like that video of the hijabi having the most sour candy in the world. Oh my god.
Absolutely.
Nero from Disney Minus asks, if you had a scene where Optimus punches Kicker through the radio after he told Optimus that he couldn't beat Unicron alone, would you?
Yes. Like fucking Omega Supreme's fist just comes out of the screen and decks Kicker.
I actually wouldn't, because I think Kicker's the only character I actually like in the show now.
You know what? Yeah, we've come around on Kicker.
I've 100% come around on Kicker. I enjoy him.
Fucking
I think
Bizarro, Transformers World were both like, the humans are great. Fuck all these robots, though.
He's like genuinely pretty funny. Like genuinely, like generally speaking, is the only one who makes a lick of sense in this show. I'm 100% on Team Kicker at this point, so I would actually be pretty sad about that. Also, I'm very anti-Team Optimus.
What if instead Optimus just punched Ironhide again?
I mean, he does that anyway. Like, he literally does that anyway. He sucks so much in this show. All right. Veer also asks, do you think one of the reasons why Energon's Dr. Jones is such an unhinged bad dad is because he keeps drinking juices that he's clearly allergic to and causes face to break out in rashes? That's
yes.
That is my favorite dub interpretation of drinking that I think I've ever seen. That's great.
Sparkling grape juice. Isn't that what Pegasus has as well? No, it's White Wine Spritzer, isn't it?
I can't remember. No, it wouldn't have been wine. It wouldn't have been.
No, because this was this. Oh no, yeah. In the show, it was. I believe it was like sparkling grape juice. In the dub of the movie, because I guess it was like a movie, they could get away with saying,
"Oh, Dark Side of Dimensions." Yeah, in Dark Side.
No. The first Yu-Gi-Oh movie, where he says when he has that dream, he says no more white wine spritzers before bed.
Right, Pyramid of Light. So I actually haven't watched Pyramid of Light. So.
God, that's funny. There's a naked man in it. He's the main villain.
Is it Alexander the Great?
No, it's Anubis.
Great. That's Very, very funny. No, in the manga, it's Gorgonzola cheese and the world's finest wine. As it is in the abridged series.
Yes.
Gorgonzola cheese and the world's finest wine.
He's really living the life. I want Gorgonzola cheese and the world's finest wine, and of course, Kenichi with Funny Rabbit.
Though I have to say, like, for a man of his wealth, to be doing Gorgonzola instead of Stilton or one of the nicer blues.
He likes the taste.
Yeah. What do you think the Superlink Dr. Jones is? Oh, do you think the Superlink Dr. Jones is a bad dad because of something like black mold in his house, or some other thing that can cause brain damage?
I think he's just an asshole.
Yeah, I think he's just an asshole.
I think he's just like a egomaniacal maniac who only sees his son as free Energon, basically.
Yeah, his relationship with Kicker is, you are a tool for me.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife never stopped him from doing that, so kind of on her too for that. And our last question, also from Veer, will Supremus Maximus be
God.
Optimus's next power-up? Do you think all of Optimus's previous power-ups have a support group with each other?
Well, one of them was a bunch of drones, so they didn't have any sentience, and nobody cares about Wing Saber, so no. I will also say,
what if the drones were sentient?
Oh, that's horrifying, because I'm pretty sure several times he literally throws them at things to make them explode. So, I mean, this is Energon Optimus we're talking about. That's probably true, actually.
A small price to pay.
I will say this. Thank fucking God Optimus Supreme is the last power-up form we have. I think if they could have figured it out, they would have figured out a way to make the combiner teams also combine with him, but they just couldn't. They just couldn't get that worked out in time.
Yeah. From particularly, I would say from a toy stand point. Yeah. Which is, again...
really funny thing about the combiner toys as well, in addition to the show selling them really badly, you know how most of the time for these combiner teams they come in a package? No. All of them were sold separately only.
Well, yeah, that's how you make the money.
But nobody wanted to buy them because they looked like shit and didn't look cool on the show. So I remember in the latter part of that show's toy line, there's a concept in the Transformers fandom called a shelf warmer, which is when there's a toy that nobody wants, so it just clogs shelves, sometimes for years after its release. And towards the end of Energon, there were two things you could always rely on. Number one, there would be loads of Ironhide figures because he was ugly as fuck and nobody wanted him. And you could also count on so many of these combiner pieces scattered everywhere because nobody wanted them. Good job, guys.
To sell toys.
Badly.
Well, folks, we've been Prime Cuts. You can find us on Twitter at PrimeCutsPod. You can find us on the Noise Space Network at noisepace.xyz, along with a bunch of other really great shows. Personally, I've been Audrey. You can find me at Tumblr, Twitter, and Blue Sky. No longer co-host. RIP. At Optimum Prime, which is my funny robot internet joke. You can also listen to the other podcast I do called Pot of Greed, and it's about Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm sure you wouldn't have guessed from the last 5 minutes of conversation we've had here.
I'm Nearing, and follow me on Twitter, Dragon Smoocher, and on Tumblr it's Cyclonus with a 5 at the end of it. Other upcoming projects are coming soon, I promise. There's so much of this. We're off next week. Respite for all. There's so much of this fucking show. There's 4 podcasts left of this show. I can't believe it.
You still have a full month, yeah. By the time this episode actually airs, I will be in Europe, far away from here. What a dream it will be.
And as of this recording day, tomorrow you're going to go see Transformers 1.
That
reportedly a very good Transformers thing.
That is what I was going to say, but everyone, I guess, can search my social media feeds. I'm sure there'll be some posts about it. If you want to see me dressing up as Starscream in Starscream cosplay to go to Transformers 1, a cosplay I have not worn since I wore it to New York Comic Con in 2018, where I was filmed by CBS Local News.
Nice.
talking about how much I hated Comic-Con.
Well, until next time, everyone, I am going to dip myself in the liquid Warhead's White Cherry to get some hideous new colors transform and roll out.
I'm going to
Please, everyone at home, enjoy the grunt stylings of Gary Chalk to play you out today.
Transform and roll out.
Peach.
Peach.
Peach.